On a quiet Sunday morning in Paris, a masked gang hit the world's most famous museum and vanished in just a few minutes. No gunshots, no chase through the galleries, just a surgical strike on France's crown jewels and a getaway that stunned investigators. The target was the Apollo Gallery, home to parts of the French crown jewels, including priceless Napoleonic pieces valued at tens of millions of euros. These objects are considered part of France's national heritage, not just luxury items. October 18, 2025. A group of men walked around the Louvre, again and again. They looked like tourists, but they weren't taking photos. They were counting and watching the guards. They got every single detail right, including the number of guards, their positions, and their shift timings. This was the last step of their plan. The day passed normally. The next day, a truck pulled up next to Louvre, right under Apollo Gallery. It was not a normal truck, but a truck equipped with a lift that could extend up to 30 meters, which was enough to reach the gallery. Behind the truck were two Yamaha T-Max scooters. These scooters are high performance, known for their powerful engines and good maneuverability, which was perfect for escaping. They wore yellow jackets to be seen as French workmen, which worked perfectly for them. They climbed onto the truck's lift to reach the gallery. As the basket rose higher and higher, their heart hammering in their chest with the disc cutter in their hands. Finally, they were up. They climbed onto the balcony to get inside, then used their cutter to slice through the thick glass. They got inside the gallery. At the time, museum was open with a few people examining the displays. They all froze in fear when two men burst in. Some security guards tried to stop them, but they used their cutter to scare them off. They were able to see the jewels inside the glass case. Using their cutters, they carefully cut through the glass. Finally, the first piece of jewelry was in their hands. They moved quickly and stole several other items as well. The vibration sensors placed beneath the glass detected the disturbance and triggered the alarms, causing their heartbeats to race even faster. They panicked in rush and started to run towards window. Then they climbed the lift. Their partner lowered the lift for them to come down. After reaching bottom, they ran on their scooters. Soon, the local police arrived, but the thieves had already fled. However, in their haste, they made a mistake and left behind some power tools, a blowtorch, gasoline, gloves, a walkie-talkie, a blanket, and, most importantly, a crown at the scene. Along with these items, police also found a helmet at the scene. Remember this helmet because it will play a major role in the story. 30 minutes later, Paris prosecutors had launched an investigation into organized theft, mobilizing 60 investigators, with the Seine-Saint-Denis Anti-Gang Brigade joining the operation. By 12 p.m., the Louvre was fully closed. President Macron had been briefed, and Interior Minister Nunez announced a national alert for the stolen jewels. The investigation team swelled up to 100 individuals, and during investigation they found a big clue. It was DNA traces on the helmet. A lot of chaos was seen in the country after that. Some people were angry because of weak security, and some even enjoyed the moment, especially tourists.
Well, when you rob the Louvre, that's a big deal to all of France, so I knew something was up because of the way they swept the whole museum.
But it's great. This is our last day of a long trip, and this is the most exciting part today.
But overall, it created a lot of pressure on the government and investigator to catch the thieves and recover the stolen jewelry. Finally, 6 days after the heist, 2 men were arrested following the DNA traces. First was found at Charles de Gaulle Airport, and second was arrested at his home area north of Paris. One suspect is a French national in his 30s from Seine-Saint-Denis with a prior burglary record. The other holds dual French-Algerian citizenship, aged approximately 34, previously worked as a waste collector and delivery driver, also with theft convictions. Both resided in the Paris suburbs and had been under BRB surveillance for days to trace accomplices and jewels. According to reports, the suspects partially admitted involvement while in custody, though authorities have withheld specific details pending the completion of formal interrogations. Investigators cited multiple pieces of evidence linking them to the crime, including DNA recovered from discarded gloves and a helmet that matched one suspect, later identified as AG, fingerprints lifted from tools used in the break-in, and surveillance footage placing them at the museum entrance around the time of the incident. But still, no jewels were recovered. On October 29th, 5 more suspects were arrested in Paris suburbs. By October 31st, 2 were charged: a 37-year-old man who scouted the museum and a 38-year-old woman who helped with plans. They faced theft and gang conspiracy charges. The other 3 were let go after questioning. They both firmly denied any involvement in the heist, but were subsequently placed in pre-trial custody by the authorities due to serious concerns over flight risk, the potential for collusion with other suspects still at large, and the fact that the man had a prior criminal record consisting of 11 convictions, 10 of which were directly related to theft. The remaining 7 stolen jewels have still not been recovered, despite the arrests of several suspects, including the 4 main perpetrators identified as local operatives who have faced charges for the theft. It is fueling widespread speculation and conspiracy theories that this was no ordinary crime, but the work of a still unknown big mastermind. Perhaps a shadowy international collector, a high-level black market figure, or an organized syndicate that orchestrated the raid from afar. Many observers believe the arrested men served merely as expendable commando executors, protecting their elusive commissioner out of fear, loyalty, or promises of reward. Theories suggest the jewels were swiftly broken down, diamonds and emeralds separated and dispersed into hidden private collections or offshore markets to avoid detection, while official accounts stress systemic security lapses, outdated alarms, and delayed responses rather than any elaborate plot. The prolonged absence of the treasures continues to erode public confidence in the Louvre's safeguards, contributing to the director's resignation and ongoing debates about the vulnerability of France's cultural icons. And so the questions linger. Will France's lost crown jewels ever see the light of day again? Or have they vanished forever into the shadows of greed and secrecy? One thing is certain. The 2025 Louvre Heist has left an indelible mark, reminding the world that even the most guarded treasures can be vulnerable. Until the truth emerges, the Galerie d'Apollon stands quieter, waiting.